Welcome to the Daily Insider here on VegasInsider.com for Thursday, July 29th, 2021. Kevin Rogers with you, and very excited about today. A lot of day baseball. Also, the NBA draft coming up tonight, and got a lot to discuss with that. Obviously, it looks like Cade Cunningham of Oklahoma State is going to go number one to the Detroit Pistons. He is a heavy favorite at minus 5,000 right now to be the number one pick. But we'll see how it all unfolds, and also against the NBA draft in just a little bit. First, though, let us begin with telling you about the Daily Insider Contest, which we have every day that we have a show, Tuesdays and Thursdays right now throughout the summer, and then starting in September, it's going to be Monday through Friday at noon. Now, the Daily Insider Contest, very easy to enter. All you have to do is put in your Vegas Insider user ID in the comments section below, along with your best bet for the day. Now, for Major League Baseball, it can be a first five-inning play. It could be just a normal side, money line, run line, total. It could be a pitcher strikeout prop. Those are all options for you. And even we'll throw this one in for you tonight. Sans Cade Cunningham at minus 5,000. NBA draft props, if you have them, you could put them in as well. Now, if you do not have a Vegas Insider user ID, it's very easy to get. Just go to the big yellow register button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that. Free membership. Register now. It's free to click on, and to everything's free to click on. It's just about where you're going. But you can put in your ID and password, create a new one, and also put in an email address, first and last name, phone numbers to get in contact with you. It's all free, so now at least you're in the system, and you can now participate in the Daily Insider Contest. And what's the grand prize? If you're not sure what it is, what am I playing for? It is a week's worth of handicapper picks from one handicapper on VegasInsider.com. So 7 days of one handicapper's picks, $100 value for free. You can get that if you win the contest. Basically, you have to win your best bet, and then you'll be in the drawing to win the prize. You don't just win it, A, if you enter, and B, you have to win your bet. But then you also have to, we have to pick you out of the drawing to win the grand prize. So, with all that being said, let's begin with Major League Baseball for today. And you have several games starting in a few minutes. So we'll get to the 12 o'clock games. You have two of them, Braves, Mets, and then Nationals, Phillies. And they have a doubleheader in Philadelphia. All right, so first let's begin with the Braves and the Mets. And that is it's been a very intriguing series with these two. I say a lot of low-scoring games. They've already played 4 games. 3 of them have gone under the total, and one went over a few nights ago with the Braves blowing out the Mets. Now, last night, in case you missed it, the Mets ended up beating the Braves 2-1. It was a very fun game from the standpoint of just not a lot of runs scored, good pitching on both sides. Taylor McGill, who's with the Mets, has actually been a really good addition to that rotation, and he has, I believe now, I think the Mets are 6-1 in his 7 starts. And the only game they lost was to the Pirates when they were up 5 or 6-0 early right before the All-Star break. And the Pirates came back and beat the Mets. But McGill has been a very good addition to the Mets rotation, considering Jacob deGrom is hurt. Noah Syndergaard hasn't pitched this season. Carlos Carrasco is actually slated to pitch tomorrow against the Reds, and that's a pretty important matchup in New York because the Reds are hanging around in the wild card race in the National League. But getting back to last night, 1-0 game, Braves tied it at 1. Mets got a pinch hit home run to go up 2-1, and then the Braves had an opportunity to tie it in the 9th inning as they got a base hit, but the runner was thrown out at home on a bang-bang play. He was out after the replay. It was clear he was out, but the Braves just couldn't get that second run pushed across, and they lost 2-1. So a big win for New York to still get some breathing room there in the National League East. And Atlanta's now gone 13 straight games, alternating wins and losses. Now they're coming off a loss. You wonder if they're going to get the win today against the Mets, and that game starting in just a few minutes. It's Drew Smyly and Taijuan Walker on the mound in that one. And what's interesting about Drew Smyly is the Braves have actually been pretty successful when he started. In fact, looking back through the middle of June, Atlanta's 6-1 in his actually they're 7-1 his last 8 starts, going back through June. And he maybe doesn't have great numbers. I mean, he's going to get you 5 innings or so, but Smyly has actually been pretty productive for the Braves. And Atlanta, or New York rather, does not hit lefties well. Last night they won, but they only got 2 hits, or 2 runs, one of them coming on a pinch hit home run. And Taijuan Walker goes for the Mets. He has not been sharp of late. 12 runs in his last 4 1/3 innings for Walker. So that game is getting started in just a few minutes. Now, obviously, we can't really talk about Nationals-Phillies because it just got underway, but we could still discuss a few points. They're playing a doubleheader in Philadelphia today. Now, number one, the reason we're playing a doubleheader is because Trey Turner, one of the Nationals' top players, he tested positive for COVID. He was pulled from their game a few nights ago, and he had to exit. And obviously, if he tested positive, other players were going to test positive, and the Nationals had a bit of an outbreak. So last night's game against the Phillies was postponed. Now they're playing the 2 games today. Now, before today's game, we find out, or if you don't know, that the Nationals traded their closer, Brad Hand, to the Toronto Blue Jays for a minor leaguer. So Brad Hand, who is in his first season with the Nationals, in fact, now he's off to Toronto. So Washington's going to have to find a new closer for the rest of the season. And this game today, Max Scherzer and Zach Wheeler. Now, Max Scherzer could be making his final start for Washington. We don't know. The trade deadline's coming up, tomorrow? So Max Scherzer maybe could be pitching his last game as a National. Who knows? We'll see. Zach Wheeler goes for Philadelphia, and that game just underway, and you don't normally see Max Scherzer as that price of an underdog, but again, the Nationals have a lot of issues with their roster, and Zach Wheeler's been excellent for Philadelphia this season. So that game is just underway. The second matchup, Patrick Corbin and Vince Velasquez, 2 struggling pitchers on the mound, and Corbin, who actually has been pretty good as an underdog, is a nice underdog, 140, 150 range. He's not really at that yet. He's around the 135 range, but he's been productive in that role this season. Vince Velasquez, when he pitches against the Marlins, he's great. When he's against anybody else, he stinks. So tread lightly with that one. That's a 3:05 first pitch. Both 7-inning games at Citizens Bank Park. Now let's go back up, and we've got a little bit of time. Actually, let's hit on the other afternoon games. We'll jump around a little bit just so we can hit them, and I don't want to go far with the other ones. You don't have time to maybe place a bet on some of these other games. All right, Yankees and the Rays at 110, and they are wrapping up their series from Tropicana Field. Garrett Cole and Luis Patino on the mound. That number's dropped, and let me just check and see if Joey Gallo is in the lineup for the Yankees after he was traded to New York last night from Texas. And Cole is laying, it's about 125, 130, depending on what you get. And Garrett Cole has seen the Rays plenty since going to the Yankees, obviously in the same division, but they faced each other a couple times in the playoffs last year. And unfortunately for Garrett Cole, he couldn't get the Yankees over the hump against Tampa Bay. Now, looking at the lineup for the Yankees today, Joey Gallo is not in the lineup. Aaron Judge is back in. He's batting second. But there is no Joey Gallo in the starting lineup for the New York Yankees today. Maybe we'll see if he goes in tomorrow. The Yankees play the Marlins coming up tomorrow, so they stay in Florida. But no, Joey Gallo is sitting out the starting lineup today for the Yankees. Now, in 2 games this year that Tampa Bay has beaten New York with Garrett Cole on the mound, Cole closed as a pretty heavy favorite. He was laying 190 in a 9-2 loss in New York back on June 3rd, in which he gave up 5 runs. And he was laying 240 in a 4-2 home loss back in April 18th. He did win at Tampa Bay in mid-May, 8 innings, 12 strikeouts, 1-0 victory. So you wonder now, a couple trains of thought here. Tampa Bay's trying to avoid the sweep. They've done that a few times at home this season. And obviously there's a pitching mismatch with Garrett Cole and Luis Patino. But now you're getting some value maybe with Garrett Cole because he's not as heavy as a favorite, but also the number has dropped, and you wonder if you want to back him. You don't normally get Garrett Cole at this price. You saw that last week against the Red Sox. He closed as a short underdog in a game, in fact, that Eduardo Rodriguez left after the first inning, and the Yankees still lost that game 6-2. And Cole had 8 strikeouts in that game, only went 5 innings. We've seen him go 5 innings several times this season, which is not, you don't normally see that with him. But the Yankees, though, they are 2-4 in his last 6 starts. That's a game I'd say tread lightly, even though the Yankees have won the first 2 games of that series. Now let's continue in the American League, and then we'll go back up to the National League, because we're here. So the White Sox and the Royals, and Kansas City is actually, look, they're not going to be in the playoffs. I think that's pretty clear. But they've given Chicago a run for their money so far in this series, and they walked off past the White Sox last night, tied it in the 9th with a run, won it in the 10th. And the Royals, they're 7-1 their last 8 games. That's very impressive for the Royals. And they've beaten Milwaukee twice. They beat the White Sox twice. They swept the Tigers. They've won a couple one-run games over Chicago. All 3 games in the series have stayed under the total. So now today's total's at 9.5 with Carlos Rodon and Carlos Hernandez. A battle of Carloses on the mound. And first of all, with Rodon, Chicago has won 11 starts made by Rodon this year. All 11 victories have come by 2 runs or more. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on. That when the White Sox win with Carlos Rodon on the mound, they usually win in comfortable fashion. I think it's 3.5 runs per game, the difference that the White Sox have in their opponents when they win, when Rodon starts. On the flip side, Carlos Hernandez goes for Kansas City. And look, the Royals are dealing with injuries to their rotation, and Hernandez got bailed out his last time out against Detroit. The Tigers were up 6-0, and the Royals came back and won 9-8. That was back on Friday night. Hernandez was not good in that game. He wasn't great against Baltimore before that. So against Baltimore and Detroit, now you're facing Chicago's offense. And that is no picnic. But Hernandez, though, numbers aren't great. I know you're laying a lot if you want to back Chicago. I'd suggest go run line on it. And you also get the extra at-bat in the 9th inning. That difference of taking the run line as an away team as opposed to a home team, where at least the away team you're going to get 9 at-bats, and the home team you're only going to get 8. Unless, again, the game is tied and you get some kind of miracle where you hit a 2-run homer in the 9th inning or in extra innings. But I do like Chicago there on the run line. Let's go back up to the National League because you have 2 other afternoon games to discuss. And the 2:20 game, Reds and the Cubs in Chicago at Wrigley Field. Now, Luis Castillo was absolutely terrible to start this season. His overall numbers still are not very good, but his ERA's last 11 starts, 1.71. Castillo has been excellent over the last few months after he was abysmal to begin the season. Now, his career numbers against Chicago aren't great, but Javi Baez a question mark for the Cubs, and who the hell knows what they're going to do with Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo if they trade them before the deadline. The Reds, coming off a win over the Cardinals in Castillo's last start, 5-3. His last 4 starts, he's allowed 3 earned runs. And you know what? He's allowed 2 home runs in his last 10 starts. So Castillo has been very good. Alec Mills, who threw a no-hitter last season for the Cubs, numbers aren't bad. He's given up 2 earned runs or less in 3 of his past 4 starts. He lost as a minus 175 favorite against Arizona his last time out, 7-3. Did win as a dog, though, against the Phillies at home back on July 7th, 8-3 against Zach Wheeler. So now you're getting Alec Mills as a dog after he was a heavy favorite last time out. Also want to point the stat out. The Reds are 9-1 their last 10 road series finales. So Cincinnati normally closes out series on a high note, and they start off the season not good in that role. But 9-1 last 10 road series finales for the Reds. Castillo's pitched better. That's that. Dodgers and Giants from San Francisco. And again, the most intriguing series out there right now. San Francisco still atop the NL West. Dodgers hanging around, still breathing down their neck. And this is the final game of a 3-game series in which the Giants so far have scored a grand total of 2 runs. They won the opener 2-1. Walker Bueller and the Dodgers shut out the Giants last night 8-0. And Anthony DeSclafani will definitely not be upset that he's not facing the Dodgers anytime soon, because he's so far this season 0-3 against the Dodgers, or at least the Giants, 1-3. I got that right? 1-4. Okay, I can't count. 1-4 for Anthony DeSclafani this year against the Dodgers. So I'm sure he is not going to miss not seeing them for a little bit. But Walker Bueller, again, he pitches very well. I mean, he's probably not... You know what? We don't know what the deal is with Jacob deGrom and how long he's going to be out. And he's put up outstanding numbers this year. I don't think it's crazy to take a flyer on Walker Bueller to win the Cy Young in the National League. He's 11-1, ERA of 2.19, 139 strikeouts, 31 walks for Walker Bueller. His numbers are off the charts. He goes 7 innings in each game at least. I'd say if deGrom, you never know with some of these guys if that injury is extended for a long period of time. But Walker Bueller, out of all these other guys in the National League, we've seen Kevin Gausman, DeSclafani, Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns, been a lot of really good arms. Zach Wheeler in the National League. But Bueller's kind of the only one that's really kept it up the whole season. It hasn't had any kind of down slides. So I'd say that could maybe be worth a look, even though deGrom is the favorite right now, just because deGrom could be shut down. And if he's done for the season, then Bueller could end up being the favorite. So I don't think it's nuts right now. Walker Bueller, just to check his Cy Young numbers, he's at 10-1. He's tied with Corbin Burns of the Brewers. I know deGrom is at 1-10 at minus 1,000 to win the Cy Young, but I'm really not ready to hand over the award to Jacob deGrom, just in case he ends up sitting out the rest of the season. You never know how the voters think. So I'm just putting that one out there. That Bueller's the one I have the most faith in past deGrom in the National League. All right. Now let's get to the night action. We'll get back in order now. Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. And the Brewers picking up Eduardo Escobar, or at least that deal's almost close, with Arizona. And the Brewers are trying to help themselves out by getting another bat in the lineup. And the Brewers have handled the Pirates. That's not a shock at all. I mean, Milwaukee's eventually going to run out of games with Pittsburgh. But Milwaukee, though, still playing without Christian Yelich. He's on the COVID list. Last 2 games for Milwaukee against Pittsburgh, 9-0 and 7-3. And the Brewers have won 8 of the last 9 meetings with Pittsburgh so far this season, and 5 of those wins came at PNC Park. And a lot, 7-2, 7-2, 11-2, 9-0, 7-3. So if you're going to take Milwaukee, just run line it. There's no reason to go on the money line with Milwaukee. And Freddie Peralta starts against Chad Kuhl. Freddie Peralta actually was on the losing side against Pittsburgh on July 4th in a 2-0 defeat. 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, did walk 5, laying 180. Now he's laying 190 against Chad Kuhl. Look, it's such a mismatch, you might as well just run line it and not worry about it. Chad Kuhl, he is actually unbeaten in his last 3 starts for Pittsburgh. And you know what? The Pirates are 5-1 his last 6. So my view is this. Don't go Milwaukee money line. If you have enough faith in the Pirates to take them on the money line, okay. But don't take either Milwaukee run line or Pittsburgh. Don't take Pittsburgh run line. That's my suggestion on that game. I know you kind of say, well, you're taking one or the other. Of course, but I would say don't do Milwaukee money line and don't do Pittsburgh run line. But I'll leave the rest to you. The Padres and the Rockies, that's the 10-10 game out at Petco Park. That is the late night affair in the National League, and San Diego is a heavy favorite here. They lost to Oakland yesterday. They were blown out by the A's 10-4. They've lost 3 of 4 now, San Diego. Colorado actually hung around with the Angels last night. They lost 8-7, kind of a back-and-forth game there. Colorado's lost 4 of 5 on the road. They have scored 19 runs the last 2 games. That means anything. But they're 11-38 on the road, which actually is sort of an improvement because they've won 2 games since the All-Star break on the road. So good job, Rockies. But they send out Kyle Freeland to the mound tonight. And Kyle Freeland actually, in spite of the fact that the Rockies are 0-3 in his last 3 starts, they've gone under in his last 6 appearances. And he's faced the Dodgers twice, the Padres a few times. Freeland's last 6 starts, he's given up 8 runs. So it's not a bad job there for Freeland, who doesn't have a great record. 2018, he was an up-and-coming pitcher, had 17 wins for the Rockies, but the last few seasons, it's been a disaster. He won 17 games that year. In the last 3 years, Kyle Freeland is 6-19. But he's pitched better of late. So he takes the mound opposite Joe Musgrove, and Musgrove, still a deceiving record, 6-7, but a good ERA, 3.13. The Padres are 1-3 in his last 4 starts, and he's winless in his last 2 starts, both laying at least 200 at home. So he's in that spot again today, laying a bunch against the Rockies. Stay away game for me. Maybe an under could be worth a look here. I'm sure the Padres want to get back on track, even though the Rockies' offense blew up the last few games against the Angels, but maybe you go backwards today. All right, we talked Yankees-Rays, we talked White Sox-Royals. Let's get to the 3 night games in the American League. Baltimore and Detroit. Throw everything out when these teams play each other. Casey Mize, I haven't seen him as this heavy of a favorite all season long. But Detroit, though, they actually, they're coming off this really wacky game yesterday against the Twins, in which they won 17-14. Of course, you could say the Lions beat the Vikings. Detroit didn't hit a home run in the game, and Minnesota hit 7 in the game. So you have that where I don't know if it's more impressive Detroit scoring 17 runs on no Minnesota errors and no home runs, or Minnesota to lose a game but still hitting 7 home runs. I'm still not sure which one is more impressive. But for the Tigers, last 5 games, they haven't seen a starting pitcher go more than 5 innings. And Casey Mize, who, again, is going to be a star in this league someday, 5-5 record, 3.63 ERA. But, man, look at him laying 150. He's been a favorite 1 time this year. 1 time. And the Tigers lost in extra innings to Seattle back on June 9th. 9-6, but that was a little misleading. Seattle got a lot of runs in extra innings that game. But Detroit, though, they are 5-2 his last 5-2 his last 7 starts, excuse me. Gave up 4 runs against Kansas City his last time out. He hasn't gone far in his last few games. 4 2/3, 4-4-3. So something maybe to pay attention to. The Orioles, meanwhile, they came back and beat the Marlins last night. Baltimore 7-2 in their last 9. So they're not playing bad. They swept the Nationals in the middle of that. Now they're going on the road. We know how bad Baltimore's been on the road. But they turn tonight to Alexander Wells from Australia. And his last start, 5 2/3, 3 earned runs, and a 5-4 loss to Tampa Bay and a walk-off loss. All 3 of his appearances, it's only been 1 start, but all 3 appearances have all gone over the total. But he's on the mound tonight for Baltimore. Detroit's played very well at home. They've won 7 straight. Remember, they swept Minnesota and Texas at home. And, again, coming off this crazy game yesterday, now you think things will taper off a little bit. Red Sox and the Blue Jays. I feel like this series has been going on for a very long time. They had a rain out a few nights ago, but the Red Sox throw out Eduardo Rodriguez. Hyunjin Ryu goes for Toronto, so a couple southpaws on the mound. Last night, 4-1 win for Boston. That was the second game of the doubleheader. Toronto won the first game 4-1, so a couple low-scoring games between these two teams. And in fact, 7 consecutive unders for Boston, 4 straight unders for Toronto, and Ryu, who could not escape the 5th inning in his last start against the Mets, picked up a no decision, but Toronto rolled to a 10-3 win. Ryu actually, he got 4 1/3 innings. He gave up 10 hits in 4 1/3 innings, but yet he was lucky because the Blue Jays offense did a lot for him. How about this number? In Ryu's last 2 starts, the Blue Jays have scored 10 runs apiece. In fact, in 3 of the past 4, they've scored at least 10. So they've gotten a lot of offense for their lefty when he's on the mound. Ryu has split a pair of starts against Boston this season, but the last time around, 8-0 win, 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, allowing 4 hits. So Ryu has seen success against Boston this year. And for Eduardo Rodriguez, he exited his last start after just 1 inning against the Yankees. But Boston, though, they are 8-1 his last 9 starts. So even though he exited early, the Red Sox still won that game. And for Rodriguez, he was on the losing side of that 8-0 defeat to the Blue Jays back in May. Gave up 5 earned runs, 5 innings, 11 hits. Did beat the Blue Jays at home, though, earlier this season back in early April at Fenway. But Rodriguez, the ERA is terrible across the board, but 3-1 at home so far on the campaign. Angels and A's, they wrap up the night out in Anaheim. And mentioned LA taking 2 of 3 from Colorado. Oakland remains on the road. They snapped a 4-game skid. They beat up San Diego yesterday 10-4. They got a lot of early runs in that one. And the A's acquiring Starling Marte from the Marlins. Not sure if he's going to pitch or if he's going to be in the starting lineup for the A's tonight or not. But Frankie Montes starts for Oakland. And the Athletics just 1-5 in his last 6 starts. The only victory came at Houston as a plus 155 underdog. But several of these starts as a favorite, he hasn't pitched poorly. Montez will give you innings, and he's given up 10 earned runs his last 5 starts, so he's not pitching bad. 2 times, 10 strikeouts, and 4 straight unders for Montez. He did beat the Angels back in mid-June at home, but also lost to them on the road. Or I'm sorry, let me flip that around. The 2 starts against the Angels both came at home. One was a win, one was a loss. Now, Alex Cobb is slated to start this game. Not 100% sure, but, he's listed here. I don't have confirmation on that. Cobb is 7-3. No decisions last time out against the Twins in a 5-4 loss. If Cobb goes, this little number to throw out, late May in Oakland, Cobb tossed 7 scoreless innings, 8 strikeouts, and a 4-0 win over the A's. So Cobb did have a successful start against the Athletics earlier this season when these teams met in Oakland last week. 10-1, the A's outscored the Angels in 2 victories. So Oakland has had the Angels number a little bit of late, but LA comes into this one 5-2 their last 7. So that's the look at Major League Baseball. And the NBA draft is actually coming up tonight. And want to go over some of these updated odds with you. You can check out some best bets from Michael Crossan. He has his betting predictions. You could find that. But I want to get you a few of the updated odds, though, before the draft tonight. And as of now, Cade Cunningham, minus 5,000, be the first overall pick. Now, remember, if for whatever reason the Pistons traded out of that and Cunningham is still the first pick, you get paid on that because he's the first overall pick. Not who Detroit's going to select, but who the first overall pick is. It's your slot, not your team. But taking a look at some of these numbers, because now they've really been updated. So Jalen Green is at minus 500 to be the second pick of the draft. And that belongs to the Houston Rockets. So right now, with Cade Cunningham going first, and then, I mean, we're going to assume he's going to go first. I mean, I think that's pretty, I think it's pretty fair to say that. I don't think it's a nutty thing to say that he's not going first to the Pistons. I think the Pistons knew that he was going to go first when this whole thing started. But the Rockets are sitting at number 2 right now, and it looks like Jalen Green will end up being the second pick of the draft. Now, Cleveland goes third, and for Cleveland, the third overall pick, Evan Mobley, he could end up going third from USC to the Cavaliers. He's at minus 350, and Mobley's at plus 400 to be the second pick. Fourth overall pick, Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga. He's at minus 200. And the fifth overall pick, Scotty Barnes out of Florida State, minus 275. The Raptors are at 4. The Magic are at 5. So Barnes wouldn't go too far, going from Tallahassee to Orlando. But taking a look at the exact order for the top 3, and the favorite at minus 400 is Cade Cunningham first, Jalen Green second, Evan Mobley third. So pretty much, I think it's fair to say, you know, Cade Cunningham's going first. You can take that one out, so now you only got 2 guys to worry about. And usually when you have, like, it's kind of like the NFL, like when you have all the indications that someone's going to go, that the number has dropped on Jalen Green, that he's probably going to go second, and that Evan Mobley will likely go third. I mean, going to Cleveland to play with the Cavs, I mean. But regardless, though, that's what it feels like. I don't think it's crazy to even lay the 400. I really don't. And a lot of people would say, well, that's a big price to pay. But you know what? I don't know, because you already have one guy kind of in the bag. Because after Cade Cunningham, is there even, let me see, the top 3. All right, the longest shot of Cade Cunningham. This is from BetMGM, by the way, these numbers. Jalen Green 1, Cade Cunningham 2, Evan Mobley 3 would be 18-1 odds. Jalen Green 1, Cade Cunningham 2, Jalen Suggs 3 is 30-1 odds. And then Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham is 80-1 odds. I think you're throwing money away there. Cade Cunningham's not going to go third. He's not going to go second. He's going to be first. So I know a lot of people want to try to hit it big, but That one, Cunningham, we see him at like minus 5,000. He's a minus 5,000 to be the first pick. Now, you're not going to lay 5,000 to win one. But it really is some heavy numbers to pay for some of these guys. And remember, again, it's the slot. It's not the team where they're going to end up. But Cunningham's got to be number one. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So that's a look at the NBA draft tonight. And then the NBA can shift to the Summer League and then get ready for the regular season, October. I think October 19th is what I saw for the NBA season beginning. And it's coming up right around the corner. That's the good thing about having basketball in July. All right, I want to remind you one more time about the Daily Insider Contest. Very easy to enter. Put your Vegas Insider user ID along with your best bet for the night. Major League Baseball, first 5-inning play, first inning play, strikeout prop, money line, run line, total. It's up to you. You got to be before the game. It cannot be a live play. Also, the NBA draft, we'll throw it in there, but you can't do Cade Cunningham minus 5,000, okay? But even some of the other ones, we'll see if they come through. We'll give you a pass on that tonight, but, it should be interesting to see how it goes. But put your picks, your best bets in the comment section below the video, and if you win your best bet, you'll be eligible to win. You'll be in the drawing to win a week's worth of handicapper picks from one handicapper of your choosing on VegasInsider.com. We want your Vegas Insider user ID so we know how to get in contact with you. If you do not have a Vegas Insider user ID, go up to the big yellow register button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on register, free membership, register now, create an ID, create a password, email address, first and last name so we can find you, and then you'll be all set to go. You'll be part of the community. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our videos, all that good stuff. I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of the Daily Insider. We'll be back with you on Tuesday when it's August. So almost at football season. Well, training camps are underway in the NFL, so we're almost there, thankfully. We'll talk to you again on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Be safe. And as always, best of luck with your bets.